Okay, dear, just going out to the garage for a few minutes. See you later. Oh, hey. Welcome to the Man Cave here at Wistful Vistas in beautiful suburban San Diego, California. Oh boy, do we have fun. It's another garage vlog. I apologize for that because we've done a few of those recently, but you know, stuff's got to get done so stuff can happen, and the stuff getting done right now is pretty important. What's going to go on is we are going to install a Cardo Pack Talk Black. I don't think the camera's gonna like that at all. But we are going to install a Cardo Pack Talk Black into my venerable. It's venerable now. I don't know if I'm in frame or not. We are going to install that Cardo Pack Talk Black into my venerable and very useful Shoei, again, tell me how do you say that correctly, X14 Helmet with the chin mounts camera mounted on the front of it. What happened is that I had a Cardo Pack Talk Slim, and after 3 years it stopped, or 2 years, 2+ years anyway, the battery stopped taking a charge. And while I liked the slim profile of the very aptly named Slim, it did bother me a bit because it's in 2 modules. There's a module at the back that contains the battery and the charging port, and then a module, slim module on the side where the controls are located. And while that sounded fine in practice, it was a little, the bulk reduction, I don't think, I'm gonna find out when I go this route, the bulk reduction I don't think was as useful as having it all in one place on the side of the helmet. So we're gonna unbox it and go through the install on that together. And I've already got the some of the parts loose on the helmet here. We're gonna also work on putting the microphone back into the helmet in the proper place. There it is. There's all the microphone. Back into the helmet in the proper place. So we're gonna kill a couple of birds. We're not gonna kill anything. We're gonna get 2 things accomplished while we're together here in the garage. All right, stand by. Hope this is useful to you. Hello in there. Okay, as I say, I hope some of this is useful. Got to move a couple of things out of the way. Oh, here's my university graduation tassel, my master's degree from Pepperdine University. Kids, young people, if any of you are watching this, get an education. Okay, so here we go. Cardo Pack Talk Bold. The bottom slides out nicely. The receipt goes inside also nicely. We place that over out of the way. Very nicely boxed. Black and blue is their logo. There may be some unpleasant connotations with that black and blue. They put a little thing on there that tells you open. Open. Ta-da! Oh, that's pretty. Gotta say, that is pretty. That would look good on anyone's wall. This is loose. I guess that's okay. Here is the main control unit. Got a little plastic covering over the top of it. This comes out. Looks like it's pretty compactly packed. Cardo sticker. Yes, sir. Gotta have a sticker. Pack Talk Black Pocket Guide. Now, I've run into a couple of things. I always make fun of how big manuals are, but I've run into a couple of things recently, and it's given me a new appreciation for the fact that they put instructions into the box. Yes, I do appreciate it now, Cardo. Thank you. All right, 3 little little black things in there, little gizmos, but they don't hold anything. One other piece that will fold open like that. What is in here? We have the charging cable. I'm not too sure. Yeah, there it goes. USB-C charging cable. The speaker mufflers, and it looks like a little lanyard inside there, and the sticker piece, sticky sticker piece. Let's move the box out of the way. We have the JBL speakers in there. We have the backing holding plate for the PackTalk Bold. I think we're going to have to come to a decision about whether we use the sticky mount or the slide up and under mount. I'm not too sure about what is better. And we have a rigid mount here. Okay, so I've emptied out the contents of the package here and separated the booklets that came with it. They provide multi-language booklets in the packaging. There's safety compliance. There is the installation guide in English. Whoop, let me move it to center, in English. And the usage guide, PackTalk Bold usage guide. And we've got two types of speaker, a more rigid mount speaker, microphone, more rigid mount microphone. And then we have a wiggly squiggly microphone, which is flexible wire. I think I might end up using this one. And we have a basic choice to make. There are two ways to mount this on the motorcycle. One is to use, I hope this comes out, one is to use a clip that slides between the foam padding on the bike and stays on that way. The other is an adhesive strip that goes on the side of the helmet, and it's got a little bit of a curve to it. Not too sure how that's going to turn out. So I haven't made up my mind about that. I need to read the installation's instructions. And I've got to see, I'm not even sure, this is for the X14 helmet, as I said, and I'm not even sure that's going to work with the X14. I don't know if I've got enough room to get that guy stuck up under there. So I'm going to read the installation guide for a second here. Won't bother you with that, but be right back. So the installation guide doesn't really give a recommendation for any particular helmet. It just says, make your choice. Use one or the other. And like I say, I'm not too sure. So I'm going to disassemble the interior of my X14 helmet, which is fairly easily done. It's mostly pull-out kind of stuff. You can pull out these pieces pretty easily to get at the interior. So I'm going to strip out the interior here and get back to you once I get it opened up. So I've decided to use the glue-on plate, and I'll tell you why I've decided to do that in a moment or two, but to do that you need to disassemble this bracket that's made to hold it onto the helmet from the backing, and that was very interesting. I like the instructions otherwise, but this was not particularly well covered, and this bracket goes over this like this. Not too sure, gee, I hope these come out. Not too sure about how you see it, but to get it to, it goes like this. To get it to release, there's a slot here, and you need to get a little screwdriver in there and press it back because there's a detent that holds it in place. So little hint there, and be careful. It's all plastic. I think you could very easily break this, that was not as easy, and surprisingly, they don't go into a lot of detail. They have a little picture here that you push in on it with a coin, but they don't go into all that much detail about how you get it apart. And I was a little worried I was going to break it. Didn't break it though, so no harm done. Now, let's go into the reason why I think I'm going to use the glue plate and why I like that better. So I like the glue plate better because of just a couple of things. One, you've got to really jam this up hard underneath your secondary layer of padding in the helmet to get it in there, and that bothers me a bit. The other thing I thought about is that while this is a much more solid mount, I begin to think, what if you had a dismount and that's sticking on the side? I don't know how safe all this stuff is. You put on a helmet anyway, and it's sticking out the side, and you get a dismount and it doesn't want to let go, and your head gets twisted violently as it might get caught or something. I would just as soon have it tear away, which it might more readily happen with the glue on. So those are my reasons, and that's my little observation about changing it as it came into the box. Remember to use that screwdriver or a coin there to push the detent to get this out easily. All right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to clean the helmet with the cleaning pad provided. There's an alcohol prep pad there. I don't know that everybody needs to see that, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to find the right place to put it, clean it with the prep pad, and then attach this to the side of it in a good spot. It is curved. I think it will fit the helmet rather well. And we'll come back to you once I've got it attached to the helmet. Another quick note is that this is the helmet side that goes on, and this is the bracket that has the electronics that will connect with the sending module. And you've got to put these two together, so I'm going to elect to put these two together when I place it on the helmet, because knowing, I think you could make a little bit of error because it's a little wider. The electronic module is a little wider than the adhesive strip itself, and I think you want to make sure about that before you put it on the helmet. So, quick note there. The other quick note is that it goes on the left side of the helmet, which is where the comms unit go, and on the Cardo system, skinny side forward. Skinny side goes forward. Here's the two mating pieces, and the skinny side goes forward, facing to rider's front. I don't know. Anyhow, that's just a little note there. You need to be aware of that before you peel the stuff off and put it on, because you've got one chance. Okay, be right back to you. You want to examine the curvature here of this piece, comparing it to the curvature on the side of the helmet, because you obviously want full contact across the patch. You don't want it to walk around. You don't want air on one end or the other. And I think this could get kind of interesting depending on which helmet you have, but most of them do have a taper along the sides, but something to note. So I'm going to look at that as I decide where along here I'm going to place it. And it says you need to give it 24 hours before it cures, and you put it on and press down for 15 seconds. So being the impatient person that I am, I'm actually going to go ahead and think about, this snaps into place, and I'm going to think about whether I actually want to, there it goes, just snapped into place. I'm going to think about, I may go ahead and put it on with the module on, because what I'd like to do is get it all in place and see if it works. And if I have to wait for 24 hours before I put that on, I won't be able to. And I don't think that's going to interfere with anything on the side of it here. All right, I'll be back to you as soon as I start the gluing process. So as I'm putting these in here, it's a, I'm going to call it a fiddly job. And the one word to use is patience. You just have to be patient, not jerk too hard. Don't throw it across the room. Oh, I put that on the wrong side of my little plug in there. I want that to be above that. And got to locate that there. Now listen. Yep, that just snapped in. Okay, that's the deal. You want patience. The other thing that I'm going to say is that they supply these little pads that are supposed to go in the air holes and allow you to place them, but I'm actually not going to use them, because that thickness then is that much more added to where the speaker beds in beside your ear. And if it's a tight-fitting helmet, as the X14 is, as I say, that gets extremely uncomfortable. So I'm going to see if I can't just hold them in place by placing them in there. And if that proves to be an issue, I may go so far as to glue them in place. But I'm going to try first just to place them in there. Helmet's a pretty confined spot. And once the cheek pads go back in and cover them up, I'm hoping they're going to stay in place well enough that I don't have to glue. But I'm definitely not using these things, because my experience is that they're very, it just extends them far enough into the interior of the helmet that it will be a constant irritation. You'll get a migraine after a while, as a matter of fact. So going to put that there on that one. Rotate it. There's a little wireway, or cableway, I'm going to call it, that comes out of there. And I'm going to put that there. Tuck it under that there. That makes a lot of sense. But you'd understand if you were here. And then push it in firmly. And I'm going to put the cheek pad back in over the top, and then I think it's going to stay in place. Again, I'm going to mention fiddly job, use patience. By the way, this is one of the reasons that Shoei is such a good manufacturer. Several manufacturers do this, but Shoei can sell you different cheek pads of differing thicknesses to help you custom tailor a helmet. But that's one of the things that makes them great. So now my job is I have to get this to insert back in, get the chin strap to thread through, and keep it all more or less together as we go forward. This is the microphone connector side, and we'll get to that later. But again, I'm going to spare you some of the details of trying to get this on there, because it's just fiddly, and each helmet is different. But that's what we got to do. We got to put her back in here, kind of like this, match where this one starts off, and get it to start folding in and around. And we're going to pinch down on that cable a little bit as we go through there. And we'll work it in, and then get those plugs in on the other side, and then we'll start worrying about the microphone. So back at you in a minute. Okay, I've got the cheek pad back in, and one of the things you have to do is give a little extra slack in the wire. Not sure if you're going to see that, so the cheek pad can pinch down on that and hold it in place. Now I've got to redo the buttons that snap it in. Let's see if we can find it. This is always sort of like Blind Man's Bluff here, if you've ever played that game. There goes one. Hurrah. Here's the other one up front here. Okay, cheek pads back in, and straps are ready. Gonna put the chin mufflers on the front there. Okay, getting down to the final parts here. I just tried the helmet on. My little clever plot of just putting the speakers in place without gluing them in seems to be working. Just tried the helmet on, and they do not impinge on my ears. As I said, the Shoei is a relatively tight-fitting helmet, the X14 anyway. And now I've also attached the connecting piece to the speaker here. And there seems to be a beautifully built recess right at the front of the helmet where I'm going to install that. And then I'm going to tuck the excess wire up underneath the cheek pad. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. Just installed the speaker. Will this turn out? It's a little unwieldy to show it all. I've said that several times, so I'm going to stop saying it, but it's right there, right at this front part of the helmet. This seems like there's just a ready-made spot for it to go in. So it is right in there. Camera's going crazy. Okay, so next thing is I'm just going to hide that excess wire there, and essentially we are done installing this. We're done installing it. I'm going to see if there's any juice and see if I can't get it to fire up, if there's any juice in the battery at all without charging it. But I'll be back to you on. Okay, we are just about at phase last, ladies and gentlemen. I've reinstalled the wind deflector and the chin curtain, well worn, and the mic is in place. The wires are more or less out of place. Did another test fitting, and it all looks good. So my only remaining chore, which I'll do off camera, is to once again put this, my little GoPro microphone back in the helmet, threaded around things in there. And then I think I'm going to see, is there any juice left on this thing, to see if I can't do just a real quick wireless. So I'm just about ready to put the excess mic wire into the helmet lining, and I've got it all wrapped around. And what I've got it wrapped up with, will this show up? You get these little twist ties in a lot of products, and my advice to you is don't throw them away, because you can find them. I have a little spot, I keep a bunch of them put together. Yeah, they're always handy for just kind of now and then tying in to tie things up. So don't throw them away, and that's what I've got to use. That's what I've got in this bundle here to keep it all more or less together. Now, to thread it in there and get that last button back on to my long suffering cheek pad here, suffering succotash. The last cheek pad button will go down. If I can do it without taking 100 hours, I will do it so you can hear the click, because that'll mean that we're done. Did you hear the click? No, you didn't, and that's because it took me several moments to get it threaded in there. But it's in there, it's on there, and we now have a fully assembled helmet with the Cardo Pack-Talk Black. I'm rocking out, I can hear it. I don't know if this is going to come across on the microphone or not, but I'm listening to a pretty Carmina Burana tune. Have my glasses on, my helmet on, walking around the garage. Lights on, neighbors look in the window, they see some crazy old guy bopping around and moving around. But it all went together. As I said, hey Cardo, music off. You gotta, what's nice about this, it does have volume, verbal input, voice input. So yeah, it's in there, it all went together. And we're done. I hesitate to say 100% done. I don't know if you can hear this. Let's take this helmet off. Yes. And when was the last time you tried to take a helmet off with glasses on? That never ends well. So thanks for staying through the journey with me. It is fiddly, as I say. It requires patience. Does go in, and I'm going to stick with this glue-on mount, I think, for the reasons that I mentioned. I really like the initial impressions of the speaker quality are good. Before I get the inevitable question, I will say there is no speaker quality that's going to be as good as what you get in your four-wheel cage with your super-duper stereo set, or even a not-so-super-duper stereo set. They just can't be that good with the size of the speakers, but they can be better than others, and this is about the best I've heard. So kudos, it's working right now. The reason I said I hesitate to say it's completely done is because there's always sometimes a little wire will pop out after a while, and you'll see a better way to have routed that or something. Sometimes it works all together the right way the first time. So, all right, hope this is a little bit of service out there to the community. Questions, leave them in the comments section below. Ride safe.